Trigger warning, suicide. So, as I'm sitting here finishing up eating, I'm one of my old patients crossed my mind that I had. Real sweet man. This patient was admitted for a failed suicide attempt. So, I don't know why he's on my mind, but I know why he's on my mind. I was thinking about the potential patients that I could do Reiki on and the different type of patients that I encounter, which patients would not be appropriate for Reiki. And it's not that Reiki does harm. It's just everyone's not open to it, and or may not be receptive to what starts to come up to the surface. They may not be ready to work through that. But this particular patient, what I love about me as a person is that I ask questions. When stuff don't make sense, I want to know why. Because that shit don't make sense to me. And even my students, I encourage my students to ask questions until something makes sense. Is that a bag? What's that on mine? So, I'll ask questions. Or like, we'll have a nurse that'll get an interesting admission. Like we had a patient get Pum, young boy. He get up there. He look like a little regular high schooler. So you know me, I go in there. I'm talking to him because I asked the nurse. I'm just like, well, what happened? I don't know. I don't want to ask him. Move. I'll go ask him my damn self. I ask the shit people. I do very well with navigating what people find uncomfortable. The taboo topics, I do well with it. That's my arena. Come get me when you need some help with it. So I'm in there talking to a patient, and I'm getting the answers. I'm asking him because, baby, we both here now, so we might as well talk about it, right? Now, I don't force nobody to do nothing they don't want to do or talk about nothing they don't want to talk about. I understand boundaries. But going back to my patient in these taboo topics, people who commit this act, I sometimes wonder, do they consider, what if this is a failed attempt? What if your plan doesn't go through as well? What if you plan to, and somebody come through the door like a split second before it's time for you to go, baby, and they cut you down and you survive? That's an awkward moment. That's a very awkward moment. And now you got to talk about what you just tried to do. And that's pretty much my patient. He was so thankful. When people talk about the light at the end of the tunnel, or the people who have the near, death experiences, and they talk about, all the overwhelming feelings they have. That's where he was. That's where he was. He had that, I don't even want to say the zest of life, but he had a newfound appreciation for life. He was ready to live now. He indeed did not want to do that. He probably did in that moment because obviously he did it. But at the aftermath and all the way in which his method to take himself out, we had to deal with the impact of his physical body, but then also the emotional, mental, and spiritual aspect of it. When I tell you that man was so thankful, that man was so thankful. And he was really nice. I actually didn't mind having him as a patient at all. And it was just like he had that motivation. And then he has children. So to see his children at bedside, and it's kind of like you have to face them and kind of talk to them about what happened, what led you to that point. And I ain't saying they obligated to have these conversations, but the people around you are going to want some kind of answer. Whatever answer you give them, they're going to want an answer, right? But he wanted to, moving forward, he wants to mentor. And, you know, and he seemed to have a good relationship with his kids. Like, you know, his girlfriend was at bedside and she was just talking to me about how, you know, people weren't there for them. They weren't, you know, kind of being sympathetic. All these things. And I mean, I genuinely felt bad for her, but I don't know the situation. You know, I don't know what has their relationship or relationship with other people had moving forward. But when I tell y'all, I hope that man is doing fantastic. I hope that man is doing fantastic. Truly. And I hope that that momentum that he gained in that moment was not lost. And I think more people need to do that. Those with failed attempts, I hope they find the answers that they're looking for or that they were seeking in that moment. And then they can share that with other people. Hell, I told him to get on TikTok. I said, and because that's why I was telling him, like, you know, even if you can't find, like, your tribe and stuff right now, I said, baby, it's somebody for everybody on TikTok. Somebody is going to hear your message. Hell, if he did get on TikTok, I hope he come across my video because I fuss with him. He was a really good patient, regardless of what it is that he had going on. And of course, you know, whenever we get people who are, you know, hope y'all can read my lips because TikTok good for turning my sound off, child. But he, you know, whenever we get patients like that, they have to be on one-on-one. They have to have a sitter at bedside at all times, right? And just, I remember being in there one day and just me and the patient and the sitter just all talking about spirituality. Because I walked in one day and my patient asked me, he was just like, do you like, what did he ask me? He started telling me about a dream he had. He had a dream about his sister and it was like her birthday or something. It was like her birthday coming up or something like that. But so we went off on the tangent of like, you know, seeing things before they happen, things like that. And I told her, I was like, well, this is what I believe in. But, you know, nurse-wise, I'm going to be like, don't tell nobody that because they're going to fuck around and think you and this bitch hallucinating or you delirious and suffer from hospital delirium. But, you know, so I really hope he's doing well. Especially to come back from something traumatic like that and the impact that it took on his body. He, of course, going to have some time to rehab himself. Yeah. I hope he's doing well. For real, for real.